What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid, and welcome to my guide for Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. In this video, we are going to be going over how to get quite literally the strongest monster in the game in your party, and doing it as early as Chapter 1. In fact, you can do this so early, you can actually do it from about an hour into the game. You only have to do a couple of the starting missions first until you have a story objective up here in Egro's Castle right after the Brigand's Den. Once you've done that, you are essentially completely ready to do this method. However, there are a couple of prerequisites. The first one being actually job related. So in order to actually capture monsters, you have to use the Orator class. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You can either equip the Orator and then learn the Entice skill, which persuades a distant foe to become an ally at the end of the battle. Now, what this basically does is this turns an enemy unit in the battle into a guest unit, and then once you end the battle, that unit will then have the chance to join your party. Now, do note, if you want to use this on monsters, then you need the Beast Tongue skill. Now, the Orator actually comes with this by default. It is the Orator's built-in skill, as you can see at the left there, just below the Orator's job sheet. However, if you don't want to do this using an Orator, you can also go over and learn the Auto skill Beast Tongue. Now, what this basically allows you to do is when you are playing any other job, okay, you can then basically put on as your secondary ability, you can put Speechcraft on, which allows you to use Entice, and then you would also need to have on the Beast Tongue skill. This will allow you to then recruit monsters. Then what you want to do is you want to go to the Mandalia Plain, as you can actually capture a yellow chocobo here. Now, there's a really easy way to force this. Basically, if you start in the magic city of Garland, okay, and then you move over to Mandalia Plain and basically force a fight coming from this direction, there's pretty much always a chocobo there. Then you simply go into the fight, entice it, and win the battle. At the end of the fight, you'll be asked if you want the chocobo to join your party. Now, what you will end up with at that point, okay, do be warned as well, by the way, you do actually, unfortunately, need to have space in your party inventory. But once you've basically got your chocobo in, what you want to do next is actually incredibly simple, okay? You just want to just keep walking between the areas. Like, quite literally, this is all you actually need to do once you catch a chocobo. And the end result is going to be one of the most overpowered things in the game. It's honestly really, really crazy, both how easy this is, and also how freaking insane this is actually going to be. Now, what you are basically aiming to do here, right, is you want your yellow chocobo to lay an egg for you. Now, when a tier 1, in this case, the yellow chocobo, that is a tier 1 chocobo, when that lays an egg, you have either a chance for it to hatch another yellow chocobo like these right here, okay? Or there is a small chance to hatch a tier 2 unit. In this case, it's the black chocobo. And then what you basically want to do, okay, is you want to keep going until you end up hatching a black chocobo. Once you have a black chocobo, you are actually basically set. You are pretty much good to go at that point. And then you can carry on repeating the process until you get the red chocobo. Now, the red chocobos are definitely the most amazing, okay? However, there is one thing you need to note. First of all, it doesn't matter about the egg, okay? Just ignore the egg. As the yellow chocobo, as I say, you can only have a chance of getting either tier 1 or tier 2 with this. So because we want tier 3, once you get the black chocobo, just get rid of your yellow chocobo, okay? Now, you can actually keep this if you want to, as it does know Choco Cure, which is honestly an insanely good healing skill. But the main process is we basically want black and reds. Now, the yellow chocobo is just a normal chocobo. It does have really high movement and, of course, higher magic. It does have Choco Cure, which, as I say, is a really good healing skill. It basically targets itself, and then it also spreads out by 2 tiles. So that basically allows you to then heal your Chocobo and the 4 units right next to it. A super, super good skill. As for the Black Chocobo, which is tier 2, okay, this one is a little bit unique. So first of all, the Black Chocobo actually counts as a flying unit. So what that means is this can actually jump over basically anything, like really high obstacles and stuff like that. This can get past them, no problem. And of course, with it being a Chocobo, it also does have the benefit of really high movement range as well innately. As for its attacks, it knows Choco Break as usual, Choco Pallet, which launches concealed spheres to attack enemies. Now, this does have a really good vertical range and a pretty good horizontal range. However, it is single target, and it knows Choco Asuna, which, once again, like Choco Cure, is basically Asuna for the Chocobo and the 4 units next to it, making that also a very good cleansing ability. Now, once you have your tier 2 Chocobo, you are going to repeat the process, because a tier 2 Chocobo has the best chance to give you a tier 3 Chocobo. Yes, that is right. A tier 2 has a better chance than a tier 3 itself does. So what you want to do, okay, is you want to keep repeating the process until you get your Red Chocobo. Now, do keep in mind one little thing, okay? When an egg hatches, it will take any level from your active characters. So when this egg hatches, it could be level 53 by taking Ramses' level, it could be 55, it could be 41, it could be 35. Its level will basically be determined by anybody in your party. So you definitely want to make sure you get rid of all your really low level characters and so on and so forth, just so you actually start where it's at the highest level possible. Now, what makes the tier 3 Chocobo, the Red Chocobo, so overpowered? Well, that actually all comes down to one of its skills. Unfortunately, we did get a little unlucky here, and we did get some level 2 units. That is because it can also get the level of your guest characters. It's not ideal, but it can happen, unfortunately. However, these are not the only skills that you can actually get on these units. Now, you can't actually level them up anymore to get any different skills. However, if you actually equip a class with the Beast job, let me just go to it right here. So if you equip the Beastmaster ability from Squire jobs, adds a hidden ability to all allied creatures in neighboring tiles with an elevation difference of up to 3. So as long as you're right next to the Chocobo, they will actually also gain another skill. What this basically means is actually quite simple. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually really affect the Red Chocobo, sadly. Well, it does and it doesn't. So, basically, what happens is the Yellow Chocobo will actually gain the ability Choco Asuna when it is next to somebody with the Beastmaster skill. As for a Black Chocobo, it will actually gain the Choco Meteor ability. And then with a Red Chocobo, it will actually gain the Choco Cure ability, which is pretty nice. However, at that point, you're probably just going to be using, you know, like a dedicated White Mage or an Arithmetician for healing. Now, what makes this so overpowered, okay, is the Meteor skill. Rains down a meteorite to attack a distant unit. It has insanely good range, and it is freaking strong, okay? And I mean, like, really strong. Let's actually just go into a battle really quickly, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to dispatch this Red Chocobo for you to actually see just how overpowered this is. Not only that, when you're in a fight, you can also actually ride Chocobos by simply moving a character on top of them. So what this basically means is you can then have all the benefits of a Chocobo's movement range with your actual class's build. So we could now basically ride this Red Chocobo and just ignore any elevation, okay? Not only that, the Red Chocobos can swim, they counter, they are incredibly versatile. So let's just go ahead and skip a few turns here, just so we can actually get to our Red Chocobo. So we did take a little bit of damage there. And as you see, our counter there was 150 damage. Okay, it was 150 damage. Our Chocobo is level 41. The enemy is level 55. That is insane damage. So if we were to use Choco Beak, okay, that would do 158 damage. If we were to use Choco Pallets, that would be a little bit less damage, but obviously we have the extra range. If we were to use Choco Meteor, obviously the range is insane, but it also does crazy good damage, and it has a perfect crit rate. So let's go ahead and use that. Boom. 162 damage, just like that. And of course, being a Chocobo, it has really good movement abilities as well. The Red Chocobo is hands down one of the best units in the game, character-wise or monster-wise. I mean, monster-wise, it's basically number one. There is basically no real beating it. But yeah, guys, it is crazy. You really should get at least one of these. You will absolutely not regret it in the slightest. But though, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I really hope it has helped. If it has, then please be sure to smash that like button, and of course, drop a comment down below. Let me know if you are going to get yourself a Chocobo. And of course, if you want to see even more crazy tactics videos, take a look at the playlist at the very top of the description. Or, alternatively, you could also just hit the subscribe button so you don't actually miss out on any more content. As always though, everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.